How are you doing? I'm Gautam. I'm from Polynomial Protocol. We're talking about building optimal Perps market for high throughput DeFi applications. And so just a bit of background about Polynomial. We have done around 4 billion in volume. We have around 69 markets, and we did a daily all-time high of around $350 million in volume. And the why perps are very interesting is that like dexes for perps only control like 1.2% of the volume, which is very less. Like if you take spot market, it's around 20%, and perps are a very huge market. So it's like a very big market opportunity. And for our system, there are fundamentally three things: low latency oracles, premium discount functions, and funding rate velocity. So for this particular talk, I'm gonna just focus on the low latency oracle. That's where like it comes and helps us out. So for the traders, uh, for the traders, like low latency oracles help in two things. One is like orders get fulfilled faster and you get like better prices, right? And also like the fees can be very much lower. Like we have one of the most lowest fees on chain due to that, and that is mainly due to the low latency oracle. And for the protocol, we use synthetics as our LPs, and they don't get front running. So why we use a pull-based oracle is that it is high performant, right? Like price change and you place trades much faster. And also like the updates are more in demand, right? And it makes it more efficient and cost effective. And finally, the most important thing is like it's permissionless. Like anyone can update the price on chain. And that is like one of the good things about doing such a thing. So before we integrated low latency oracles, we had like a fees of 20 to 30 bps, and after it became 2 to 6 bps. So that is like from the user standpoint, like they mostly only care about this. But bigger side is like how do you make your LPs happy? And for the LPs, like biggest issue was like oracles, which were basically the like we used to have like higher fees so that we can mitigate front running, and front running was like a huge issue. Like if you look at so this is one of the hacks like synthetic suffered, and it was basically due to front running and oracles and stuff like that. So but in general, like after like putting like low latency oracles, in general you can see the LPs have been like generally very profitable. This is one of the unique cases in DeFi where like LPs are actually profitable. There is no impermanent loss, and you are kind of earning yield very directly. And you can see the staker PNL is always up, and the longs and shorts are managed. And this is mainly due to many factors, but one of the core factors is how fast the oracles update. And currently we support like 69 markets, and this has been like very like this is more on the side, like people want to trade certain markets during certain time. And how people do it is like they want to trade something at this particular time, and being able to support more markets often gets more users to the platform. And these are some of the markets we have almost all the markets, and I think in the next few days we'll be adding like I think 10 more markets. So we are always adding new markets. And so the orders, how they work is based on something called a delayed mechanism. So essentially someone places an order, and within 2-3 seconds the order gets executed. You don't execute the order instantly. And how it works is when a person places an order, an L1 commitment happens on the Ethereum mainnet. We are live on Optimism. So what happens is when the L1 commitment happens, which takes an average of 2 seconds, then the order gets executed. So you want a user to submit a transaction. So first what happens is a user comes and submits a transaction on Optimism via Polynomial and submits an order at like few seconds. Then the Pyth price is updated after like in the next block by like an execution bot, which can be run by anyone. It's like a decentralized network of keepers. They get like a small tip in executing the order for the user. So they update the bid price, and it gets processed. And then finally, the processed order like gets into the L1 chain. So let's say it's block number 1, and the block number 1 a user submits order, and in block number 2 the transaction gets executed by the next thing. And earlier it used to be like 6 seconds, and then like with Optimism Bedrock upgrade it went down to 2 seconds. We are still like figuring out how to make it more better, so it's like almost near instant now. And then you get your order, and your order gets fulfilled with an updated price. And that's it of how we work. And just want to go through the most important part about this, which is that this state of like updating the price. And so there are few places where this is required. One is when a user is placing an order, right? And then another place is like liquidation. So there is how our current system works is we use like a hybrid approach where we used a push-based oracle and a pull-based oracle. So when a user submits his order at this particular point, we used a chain link to check if like a user can get liquidated or not. But in the next version of like the V3 upgrade with like with native cross margin and stuff like that, one of the things is that we are moving fully to Pyth. So we want to get updated in the both at the same time. So there used to be this case when like people sometimes place an order, and there was, if the market moved a lot, it can potentially liquidate the user. So we want to ensure like that doesn't happen. So both the things happen via the Pyth bot, and that is one of the big changes that are like happening. But in general, like the only expensive thing is like user has to update the gas a bit. So that particular thing on the user side is a bit expensive, right? Like I think it takes like $1 or $2, and if the gas goes up, it goes to like $4 to update the price. So that is paid by the user. But like I think like in the future, like when Ethereum like scaling solutions and better things come, like that price will like go down much lower. But at the end of the day, it is good for both, right? Like we currently offers one of the cheapest fees all on chain, and we have like very deep liquidity, and the LPs are profitable. And if the LPs are happy, I think everything else will be like all right. And I guess that's it. Thank you. I guess I went out a bit too fast. If anybody has any questions, you can drop it in the chat. Why not use Solana and save fees? Yeah, so the biggest issue when you're trying to, like we are trying to solve is like the LP should be profitable. So one incident that we cannot have is like blockchains ever stopping or pausing. So that is there because we had this incident once where like Optimism was stuck for like a few minutes or something, and LPs lost like a small amount of money. And I think it was stuck for like an hour, and we lost like LPs lost like $1 million. I think they got it back, but it was not a very good experience. I think for when you are like leveraged very high, you don't want any chain rollbacks or chain getting paused. So you want the commitment to happen and be certain. So I think ideally that's why we don't use Solana at the moment. Is there any other oracles you guys use, or it's just Pyth? Yeah, so in the current mechanism, we have as I said, it's a combination. So when a person, so every time Pyth is a pull oracle, right? So our order happens in a two-step process. So a user submits an order, and then somebody executes the order. Right? Like user submits the order, and then another person called a keeper executes the order. And so both are transactions, and only when the execution happens, we use Pyth. Otherwise, the user has to pay gas 2 times. So that's why we do it on the execution only on the Pyth. But after trying it out more, realistically, we figured out that it is better to make the user pay for Pyth both the times because it's much safer for the protocol. So we'll be moving to Pyth in the next version. That will be live on Base mid this month. Like currently, like we support Chainlink for during the order submission, and the execution happens via Pyth. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.